first, Indiana, where y'all at? Game 3, getting the W by a finals, getting the Game 3 W by a final score of 116-107 over Oklahoma City. The Pacers, the underdog Pacers, have a 2-1 series lead in these NBA Finals. So let's talk about the Tyrese Haliburton thing, aspect of this, because we can go and show you his numbers from last night. He was tremendous. 22 points, 9 rebounds, 11 assists. Right there, you see a rebound away from a triple-double. Pitched in 2 steals, was 9 for 17 for the field, 4 for 8 from three-point range. He made his 3-point shots last night. The thing that I think is so compelling about this particular player is I think the discussion around him has been, I've talked about all the finals long. Is he a superstar or is he not a superstar? My mindset is this. Okay, he is as clutch as he's the most clutch player in the NBA. He keeps showing that over and over and over. It's time to acknowledge him as such. Mr. Clutch is what I've called Tyrese Haliburton for about a month on the show. Go back to the game winner against Cleveland back in the second round. But in the Chris Paul realm, he doesn't play like Chris Paul because Chris Paul was a pit bull on defense, man. He would get up in your behind, make things tough, and he was a pest. That's not really Haliburton. He's like a finesse Chris Paul in some ways. He's a true point, at least in the old school sense of that, what that position used to be, right? It distributes the ball, gets guys involved. But this Pacers team, it's funny, OKC and Indiana are very different in terms of what their identity is. Oklahoma City's going to lock you down. Well, they usually lock you down the defensive end, more on the Thunder side a little bit later. And then Indiana is, we're just going to run up and down the floor, we're going to score 120 points a night. That's who we are. That's what our identity is. But they're very similarly built in that this is, I think, the first finals we've seen with the effect of the new CBA. And I don't think reactions to NBA finals should center around collective bargaining agreements. So I'll be brief. But essentially what the CBA does is it's really, really hard. It actually punishes you in some ways, even more so than the last CBA did, in terms of being able to keep your own homegrown talent long-term. It's the biggest reason, despite the number of draft picks, that financially I don't think it makes sense for the Thunder to be a dynasty. Maybe they are because SGA is amazing. I thought the dynasty talk was way too premature. Oh, listen, the Thunder may still win this series. I'll touch on Game 4 later. But Indiana, we have I believe Haliburton to be a superstar. I think the Pacers probably believe Haliburton to be a superstar. A lot of folks do. So let's call him that. We have our superstar. We have our number 2 in Siakam, and then it could be anybody. It could be anybody. Siakam finally had a good game in this series. He gave you 21 points? I think it was 21 points in Game 3. Yeah, 21 points Siakam scored. Tyrese gave you a near 22-point triple-double. And last time it was Benedict Mathurin. Benedict Mathurin gives you 27 off the bench. He's been playing excellent as of late after... I remember talking to my buddy Paris Brown. Shout out to Paris, who's a big Pacers fan and a contributor here at the Grid Network. He's like, just get this dude off the floor. He's erratic. He's not playing well. He's not, fitting into the mold of the offense the way the other guys do, like an Obi Toppin, like an Andrew Nembhard, guys like that. And recently, man, he's been shooting well from the field. I think he's played like 100 in his last 106 minutes on the floor. Benedict Mathurin has scored 93 points. Benedict Mathurin is almost giving you a point per minute in the time he's on the floor. And he's incredibly valuable to this Pacers team. But you just see the depth on the squad. And we know, folks, there's 2 just obvious rules in the NBA postseason. Really 3, to be frank. OKC's kind of breaking one of them. We'll see if that continues. But there's 3 big rules in the NBA playoffs that always, without fail, come to fruition. And we know it to be true. And frankly, I don't know why it doesn't affect folks' analysis more than it does. Number 1. The officials let the dudes play. It's going to be physical. They're not just going to give you the ticky-tack fouls. Really, I think the last time you saw that was Game 1 of the conference finals where SGA was kind of doing SGA things and getting to the line in what I've dubbed as gimmicky ways. We haven't really necessarily seen that since, but they're going to let you play physical in the playoffs. Number 2, what does Shaquille O'Neal always talk about? The others. The others, the bench guys, the role players, whatever you want to call them, always step up more at home than on the road. Aaron Wiggins. What Aaron Wiggins gave you 18 points in Game 2? Yeah, how about a goose egg? 0 for 2 from the field. I mentioned Benedict Mathurin. I mentioned Siakam's would not be considered one of the others. He's not a role player. He's the number 2 guy. He's the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. He can give you 30 points any given night. He's that type of player. He's a champion. You expect it from him. You expect it from Haliburton. But it could be any Pacer. It was Obi Toppin hitting 5 threes in Game 1. It was Benedict Mathurin in Game 3 tonight. It was Andrew Nembhard with 6 steals against the New York Knicks in Game 6 to clinch the Eastern Conference. It was one of the kind of the OGs who's been there as long as anybody outside of Miles Turner on the Pacers, TJ McConnell. I saw a great tweet today. It's gone viral. I think it's the best. And folks may have not heard this meme before, but I think you'll know what I mean when I say it. That TJ McConnell is the Michael Jordan of Matthew Dellavedova's. And it makes it like it's just folks, not only because McConnell gave you 10 points last night. He was great. Like, I mean, I should say great. He was impactful offensively. Only 3 for shooting. He gave you 10 points. Not only did TJ McConnell have 5 steals in this basketball game and was a plus 12 when he was on the floor, he stole 3 inbounds, including the last one when Alex Caruso very carelessly throws the ball in, where TJ McConnell's right there being a pest, just grabs it right there and puts up a free 2 points. A layup for the Pacers, who, by the way, in the spot where we're down 5 going into the fourth quarter, it feels like, okay, Oklahoma City, I brought up the stat before game 3. They've led for, I think it was 91, 92 minutes of the series. Pacers haven't even led for 2 minutes. Up 5, okay. SGA is going to slam the door. We know the Pacers are great in the fourth quarter, but it just felt like the game was maybe getting away from Indiana. Thunder had a quick run at the end of the third quarter, and then the Pacers dropped 32 in the fourth. Like, that's just who they are. This wasn't like a wild comeback. They were down 5 entering the fourth. They led through most of it, but it was just an execution late. You trust Tyrese Haliburton in these spots. They had one really bad turnover. That was the play where, thankfully, the officials didn't call a flagrant foul on Aaron Nesmith, which, again, classic example. That might be a flagrant in the regular season. It's not in the playoffs. Folks, that's just how it's been for my entire life watching the NBA. The sport is just better officiated, at least my opinion. In the postseason, they let guys play basketball the way you would play, pickup to a certain degree. But this Pacers team, they control the pace. This is who they are. And it could be, it was Aaron Nesmith in game 1 against the Knicks. Benedict Mathurin tonight. Obi Toppin in game 1. Andrew Nembhard in game 6 against the Knicks. Like, it can be anybody any given night. But for Haliburton, I've updated the graphic. I actually updated it in the middle of our post-game reaction show on the Grid last night. And by the way, please be sure to check out our post-game reaction for game 4 on the Grid's YouTube channel tomorrow night at 11. But I went ahead and updated this graphic real quick, and we can go and show you, because I mentioned it after game 2, that, like, this is folks talking about, oh man, Haliburton's not scoring enough. That's kind of what he gives you. And it's not even a knock on Haliburton. He averaged 17.5 against the Bucks. Had one big game. The game 5 when he hit the game-winning layup over Giannis to beat Milwaukee. Second round against Cavs. He actually had one great game. The game 5 to close out the Cavs. Had 31 points in game 5. Averaged 17.5, just like the Bucks series. New York Knicks averaged 19 points. Had 2 big games. The game 1, Reggie Miller choke sign. And then the game 4, 32-point triple-double. And then thus far, best game was last night. Near 22-point triple-double. And he's averaging, you guessed it, 17.5 a game. And Haliburton actually talked about this after the game. We're going to go and play the clip, but he's talking to the media. It was the last question he was asked about sort of the narratives coming into this game, about his aggressiveness and whatnot. And take a listen to what Haliburton said.
The commentary is always going to be what it is. Most of the time, the talking heads on the major platforms, I couldn't care less, honestly. Like, what do they really know about basketball? But I think as a group, and watching film myself, seeing where I can get better is important. And, at a time like this, I'm not really on social media as much. I try to stay off it as much as I can. But, you see it, and, ESPN might be on in my house, and there it is. And, it is what it is. But
that's, again, and I've seen a lot of folks in the media get really defensive over that, because listen, we all have, to a degree, egos, and anytime you're called out, especially for really the entire gist of your job, which in my case, I guess I do get paid a little bit for doing this podcast, but the point is, why we do this is to analyze the game. So when that's called into question, how dare you, Tyrese Haliburton? Listen, and for the record, I'm not so sure Tyrese Haliburton wasn't, like, again, I saw folks in the media getting really defensive. I'm not so certain Tyrese wasn't just talking about, not to name drop, but the Stephen A. Smiths of the world, the Colin Cowards of the world, the biggest names in sports media. He was probably going after athletes who are still in the media too. Former NBA players who now work for ESPN or Fox or whoever. And just for the guys, it's worked. Like, get off my back. And listen, I think the main thing for Tyrese is not about scoring. Because, again, he's averaging 17 a game, essentially, these playoffs. It's a matter of just be aggressive. Just make Oklahoma City, because I noticed, and this is the reason I was kind of critical of him in that game, too, as much as I love that player, or this player. After game 2, I'm like, not only was he mostly ineffective, it wasn't just that he had, what was it, 14 points, I think it was, in that game too. I think it was actually 17, but either way, it was that A, he wasn't aggressive early, but B, every time he would go up for a shot, he'd kick it out, which every basketball youth coach in America is like, that is the cardinal sin. If you jump, you're going for a layup, you're shooting the basketball wherever you're at. You don't pass, jump passes tend to be turnovers, certainly on the youth level. But it's just make Oklahoma City have to respect you because you can shoot. You were 4 for 8 from 3-point range. You can shoot the basketball. Funky jumper, it doesn't matter, right? Like he's beaten teams on the mid-range. He's laid the ball up against Giannis. He hit a very long 2 to tie the game against the Knicks. He thought it was a 3. And then he hit the 3, obviously, against Cleveland to win the game. Like he can beat you from anywhere on the floor as it pertains to his offensive game. He is a pass-first guard. Just make the defense have to respect you, which creates other opportunities for your teammates. Like, this is what's so dangerous about Jokic. This is why I still believe Jokic is the best player in the world, is when Jokic is aggressive offensively, which generally is most nice, particularly in the postseason. When he's just scoring at will and guys have to collapse, this is what made Denver so great in their championship run. Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., KCP, Bruce Brown. Like, you have shooters everywhere. Now you have Christian Brown. You have guys. Listen, there's flaws in Denver's roster, but at their best, that's who they are, and that's what makes Jokic so darn unstoppable. So, I mean, LeBron's so great in his career. Like, it's just be aggressive, make teams have to respect you and respect what you bring in the offensive side of the ball, and everything else would kind of take care of itself. And that's who Tyrese Haliburton is. So shout out to him. I thought he was fantastic last night. I thought he controlled the pace of that game. And that now kind of shifts me to Oklahoma City. Here's the problem with the Thunder. That is getting exposed a little bit. And it doesn't mean, listen, as is the case in the NBA Finals, like, there's just a big overreaction, one game and another. Oh my God, Haliburton stole game 1. Oh, the Thunder in trouble. And the Thunder blow the doors off the Pacers in game 2. It's like, man, Indiana, screw this. Could be a gentleman's sweep. Game 1 was a fluke. And then the Pacers win game 3. Oh my God, the Thunder are screwed. What's going to happen? Ebbs and flows in an NBA Finals. Like, that's kind of what sucked about the last 2 finals, is that we didn't see that. We didn't see a team win a game and then the other team responded. They were both gentlemen's sweep. It was no fun. This year, again, I don't think the Pacers are going to gentleman sweep the Thunder, but looks like we're going to get kind of a back-and-forth push-and-pull finals, which is, for a matchup that doesn't lack a whole lot of big controversial storylines, is kind of what it needed, along with the great basketball, so I'm down for it. That's what's made this final so fun. The downside, though, for OKC, one of the reasons that they have been dubbed, and I think rightfully so, like, obviously, a lot of this is hinging on they have to win the title. An all-time great single-season team is not just the 68 wins, which is one of the best regular season records of all time. It's not just that they were 68 wins with the league MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Not just they have a great coach, Dagnall, the depth, the defense, all of it. A lot of this was, like, they don't just win. They absolutely crush you. Like, they're one of the greatest teams of all time in terms of, like, 20-point wins. They did not play a lot of close games this year. And that combined with their youth. Because if OKC wins this title, and they were my pick coming in, I'm going to stick with that pick. The big knock is they would be the youngest champion since youngest champion history, which would eclipse the 1977 Portland Trail Blazers led by the late, great Bill Walton. Like, they would make real history if they pulled this off. The youth combined with, they don't play a lot of close games. Also, because the fascinating part about this finals, neither team has lost back-to-back games all season long. Or all playoffs long. I said this, and folks, this is why I picked the Pacers in game 3 I thought Pacers +5. I remember there was a game years ago in the NFL. It was actually a year ago. Dolphins-Chiefs wild card round, and that was when the Chiefs actually weren't playing that well. They won the Super Bowl. That was the most recent title. They weren't playing that well, but I was incredulous. It was like Kansas City was like a 3-point favorite. I'm like, are you? 2 is bad in cold weather. The Chiefs are the dynasty. Like, what? Like, that's the bet of my life. I didn't bet the game. I probably should have, but bet of my life, of anyone's lives, if they took that. Pacers +5.5 last night, to me, felt pretty close. Timeout. They just got the doors blown off them game 2. They're back on their home floor. They're really good on their home floor. They have a real home court advantage there. OKC role players going to step down. Pacers players going to step up. And the Thunder don't play a lot of close games. That's why I like the Pacers in game 3. And the Thunder aren't that great on the road. Quick recap. Games 2 and 3 against Memphis. Game 3, they are down Memphis, the worst team this year in the playoffs. They were down 27 points to the Memphis Grizzlies in the third quarter. Ja Morant goes down. They go on a crazy run, win the game. Game 4 against the Memphis Grizzlies without Ja Morant. They won by 2 points. All right. Game 3 at Denver. Loss. SGA tried a gimmicky, I'm going to try and draw foul type of play at the buzzer. Denver wins in overtime. Game 4, they win in overtime. In overtime. They won, but SGA didn't play. That was kind of a clunky win where Jokic didn't play well at Denver. Game 6, lost to Denver comfortably. Game 3 against Minnesota, destroyed by 42 points. Game 4, Timberwolves bench goes off. They win by 2. And now last night, they're not that good on the road. And one thing I saw from Oklahoma City last night, maybe I should have seen this coming to a degree because I said from the jump, I'm picking the Thunder, but the series is going to go way longer than people think it's going to go. People saying, oh, sweep, gentlemen sweep. Like, y'all crazy. Like, the contrasting styles of play will give the other problems, and we're seeing that. Oklahoma City looked gassed last night. How many times you see SGA, how many times you see Jalen Williams cruising, hands on knees, like sucking air? And what I thought was interesting, people are harping on, SGA only scored 3 points in the fourth quarter. That's not the story. So much as it is, SGA had 3 points in the fourth quarter on 3 shots. What does that tell you? I'm exhausted. I can't get a shot up. I can't get the space that I feel comfortable with to get these looks off. And by the way, Shai wasn't bad by his standards, it was below par, which his standards are quite high. He averaged 33 a game on 51% shooting. He's league MVP. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 24 points with 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Like, he wasn't bad. But 10 minutes, fourth quarter, took 3 shots. I don't think a lot of this is, the moment was too big. I talked about this after game 2. The moment is not too big for Shai. Like, it's just not. Like, it's just a cool, calm, collected, just not fazed by the moment. I talked about that after game 2 and gave him props for that, and I will today for the same reasons. He just looked tired. I mean, you notice, I think the game was going to be in the Pacers' direction anyway. Did you see the Thunder just clanking free throws? And Jalen Williams missed 2 of his last 3 to end the basketball game. By the way, in a game where Jalen was the best he's been. So if you're Oklahoma City, SGA wasn't great, but he's good. He gave us 24, and Jalen Williams was solid, and Chet Holmgren got off to a great start, played pretty well. And late in that game, I couldn't tell if you switched jerseys. If you had the Thunder jerseys on the Pacer jersey on the Thunder, the Pacers were shutting Oklahoma City down. I mean, Miles Turner, who, by the way, probably the best shot blocker in the league, but this is Chet Holmgren we're talking about, a big, what are we going to give him, 6'10", 6'11", jump shooter. Palms his three-pointer. And again, Miles Turner's big, long, great shot blockers, we know. But they're just putting the clamps in Oklahoma City. And again, a lot of this to me, the key for the Thunder, in my estimation, I said this in our post-game show last night, it's the turnovers. It is the turnovers for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Like, you're looking, look at the box score right now. They had 18 turnovers 17 turnovers in this basketball game. What does that happen when you turn the basketball over? Indiana gets out in transition. And that's another reason I said the Pacers will give OKC problems. Because as amazing as Oklahoma City's half-court defense is, who is number 1 in the NBA? I said this coming in the finals. No one mentioned it. Who was number 1 in the NBA in fast break points? The Denver Nuggets, who took the Thunder 7 games. Now, Denver, obviously Jokic is better than Haliburton, but the Pacers have the next, 5 of the next 6 best players between those two. Like, you'll slide Jamal Murray in there somewhere, probably Aaron Gordon as well. But their depth, they play with pace. This is what killed the Knicks because, again, Thibodeau is just running the Pacers into the ground. I'm telling you right now, this is OKC's in a dangerous spot. Listen, I picked Indiana last night, and again, I think we're in a spot where this game 4, I think OKC's toast if they lose game 4. I know we've seen 1-3-1 comeback in the finals, and I want to talk about it. I'm a Warriors fan. I don't want to mention that. There's almost not invincibility, but I want almost for the Pacers, but I won't say an insecurity for the Thunder in that, man, we're just not that good on the road, guys. We struggled with Memphis, the Grizzlies, who were the worst team in the NBA, worst non-tanking team in the NBA over the last month of the season. They were killing us when Ja Morant was on the floor. Killing us. We lost 2 road games against Denver, in which SGA didn't really play that well in either. We got the doors blown off of us by the Minnesota Timberwolves. in one of the games and then squeaked out another win, and then we lost last night. Like, it's kind of what we talked about coming into game 2. Like, OKC kind of had to win in blowout fashion in that first game, in that game 2 on Sunday, or it's, man, there's house money for the Pacers. They can maybe take a 2-0 lead. That's not what happened. But listen, people that are writing Oklahoma City off, I think that's a mistake. But I said coming in this finals, there is a 2011 feel to this where you think one team's better. One team has the best player in the series, MVP. LeBron wasn't the MVP in 2011. He should have been, by the way. But Derrick Rose, the MVP. Braun was the best player in the world. Heatles, all the. And then here comes Dirk Nowitzki and the Mavs. And they, by the way, with Rick Carlisle as the head coach, and they screwed up for the Heat. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.